Welcome back to the transition track. Our second speaker of the day is Gary Tsai. Gary served as an aviation life support specialist during his career in the U.S. Navy. In college, Gary pursued a BS in computer science and information security, conquering his fear of math and utilizing the post 9/11 GI Bill as his golden opportunity to reinvent his life. During his college tenure, Gary discovered a new calling, offering assistance to other veterans on tutoring, housing, veterans benefits, and career guidance. After completing his BS degree, pun intended, Gary became an uncompromisingly forthright engineer who loves to share his knowledge on technology. He co-founded Veterans Voice NYC podcast to highlight veterans' transitional struggles. Presenting Leaving Active Duty, Reinvent Yourself is Gary Tsai.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming into my talk. Hold on a second. There's a one bar right next to me that I'm going to move away. I think it's fine. Anyway, all right. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you guys are, thank you for coming to my talk. My name is Gary Tsai, and I'm going to share my experience about me reinventing myself after leaving active duty. Now, this talk is tailored to individuals who are looking into jumping into cybersecurity without any kind of technical background or any cybersecurity knowledge. That was me. And of course, tailored to you if you are thinking about separating from the military, entering to cybersecurity. So without further ado, let me jump right into a quick disclaimer. This talk will not last any more than 40 minutes. I initially picked the time 50 minutes because I'm not sure how much time I would need, but later than I know, it's going to be less than 40 minutes. We could use this time for chow later, which I think we have lunch, where lunch, breakfast, or dinner. At the same time, you can, of course, ask me more questions, leave some more time for Q&A. And I am super nervous, just so you know. At the same time, I get my first conference talk right now. We're not wearing any pants, and it's kind of definitely making it a lot more special. So with that, let me jump into my small introduction on myself. Like I said earlier, my name is Gary Tsai. Served 4 years in the U.S. Navy from year 2009 to 2013. Currently, I'm working as an application security engineer for a fintech company, and I am also the co-host for the Veteran Voice NYC. On the bottom right corner, you see our logo. I am one of the 2 yellow characters. If you don't know which one, hats off to you for not seeing colors. One big pro tip that I usually give for people who are shy taking pictures by themselves: if you have an opportunity to take part in a picture in a group, make sure you stand a bit far apart. So just so you know, you can crop yourself out for any kind of profile picture that you want to use. I've done that and it works, okay? Anyway, let's jump into my early years in the Navy, okay? And look into what did I do? So like I said earlier, my job, thank you, BF, for the introduction. My job in the Navy was aircrew survival equipment. And part of that job is to ensure, maintain, and inspect the equipment that pilot wear to go flying, as well as the emergency system, the parachute and the life rack you see on the top picture. That is the seat pan where the pilot sit, and inside we have some survival items and oxygen. Along with that, they pilot wear a helmet and gives the communication through the ear and protects them in terms of in case of ejection, and a face mask for oxygen. They also wear anti-gravity suit. So I inspect all of those things. And when those things break, I need to know how to fix them, which is on a right-hand side, you see a sewing machine. I need to know how to operate a sewing machine. So that is what I do. After high school, joined the Navy. That was my first job. And on the top bottom left corner, you see myself getting every 3 years, we get a good conduct award, where I call that a never got caught award, just so that it's not anything not everybody's all 100% perfect. Full disclaimer. Anyway, moving on now, at my 3-year mark, I am thinking about separating. Okay, what am I going to do, and how am I going to, you could say, reinvent myself for the next career stage? Well, with this job is great in the Navy, but let me start thinking about, can my job right now is it transferable outside the military. So start thinking about that. And okay, how many aircraft outside military has the ejection seat? I don't know any of them other than the military. So therefore, that skill is not going to be acquired. And what about helmets? How many aircrafts outside of in the private sector has some helmets or oxygen masks or any kind of anti-gravity suit requirement? Not much. Which leads me to one thing, which is sewing. Like, no, I'm not going to be a seamstress. I'm not going to sew for my next career. So that is where I start to kind of stumble into like, all right, how the heck am I going to reinvent myself into Gary 2.0? But again, I don't have any kind of technical skill. I don't know anything about computer other than using Excel sheet. So I don't know, which is scary. Now, I think I'm half a year in, half a year out from separating. So I start to answer some question in terms of, okay, how can I make this journey smoother and becoming Gary 2.0, you could say, a more cybersecurity or a more technical focus. Well, I don't know it's going to be technical yet. I just want a new career. Let me start answering some questions that I know. What do I know? I know I'm not re-enlisting. Do 4 years, that's all I wanted. Okay, that's good. What else? Well, I am qualified for post-9 GI Bill, so I can use it to go to college. Okay, what are other things? I know I am moving back home to New York City, where I'm from, and maybe stay there for a little bit because I know the in and out of New York City pretty well. And lastly is just I took a couple math courses in doing my deployment and did not do too well. So I know for sure I am terrible at math. That's just terrible. And with that, so I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to attend college in New York City. Okay, so that's my journey, I guess. And so let's kick start. And I want to show you guys, illustrate this in a timeline. Okay, and you see on the bottom, the x-axis, you could say separation to present. Okay, and on that y-axis is more of a fulfillment, what I call that like confidence, hope, and how your morale. Okay, so when I initially separate, very positive, super excited. Okay, very hopeful. Being 22, 23 at the time, you just like, okay, I'm done with this crap, ready to go tackle the world. I'm going to college. All right, so this is where my first decision I had to make for my life as a grown up now. What am I going to study? Well, given I not good at math and I watch a lot of Law and Order during my deployment in a ship, maybe criminology would be a great thing. Serve as a law enforcement officer might be a good thing. Or is it? Or a little voice inside of me telling me that am I taking the easy way out? Am I just playing it safe? Okay. Well, I don't know. So my first semester of college comes, and this is my reaction. Walked into my class, took one course of Criminology 101, and nope, not for me. Okay. Granted, some people love reading and writing and citing and then reading and writing again, but not for me. I think I am more of a, problem solving, some critical thinking type of person, but just not for me. Those kind of bachelor art type of structure. So what I did in that U-turn, I walked down to my advisement office and picked this major in computer science and information security. Where did that come from? Why is a sudden shift? Well, how that happened was that Eric Snowden, back in 2013, April or June, this two timeframe, he disclosed a lot of information, and I was deploying at the time, reading about the stuff he disclosed, and it was fascinating on what computer can do. So I decided to go with that. It may be my calling. But of course, the one big struggle is my freaking math. I suck at it. If anything we learn as veteran that we know so far is that we may not be able to control how smart we are, but we definitely can control how hard we work. So we have that grit, okay? So exactly what I applied to it. I went to tutoring every single day, before and after math courses, and even Sunday, just so I can get my big fat C. And I did that and never looked back ever since. Never looked back ever since. So, which I learned my first, you could say, lesson in life. I want to share with you guys. You got to take a chance on yourself. Just take a chance. I only have one GI Bill. Only qualify for that one. I didn't qualify for any other vocational rehabilitation, whatever benefit I don't. That is the only thing I qualify for. So If I either go big or play it safe, I'm not sure where to end up if I did not do that, make that choice. So that is one of my first lesson. Now moving on. Fast forward about two semesters in, I'm still freshman year, okay? Learning about art 101, history 101, earth science, nothing technical. And I never exposed to any kind of computer coding, never really a computer savvy person. I'm just using computer for entertainment, right? So I started thinking about, hey, I need to have some hands-on skill, some experience in the private industry. So I need some internship, okay? And how do you get internship in school? Is just there are many job fair, okay? That you could go up there and introduce yourself with your resume. At that time, my resume is only half a page, Navy and then Burger King. That was it. And so just meeting people, just say, hey, hi, my name is Gary Tsai. I'm studying computer science and information security. I speak X and Y language, and I'm a freshman. That's my problem. Freshman. I guess industry do not like freshmen. They were looking for upper junior, rising senior, but I'm a freaking freshman without any kind of exposure. And yet here I am, want to get some exposure, but they're not too fond about that. Okay. So went to many job fair, talked to many organizations that comes into the school and ask them, hey, do you guys have IT support intern that I can just get my hands dirty? A lot of them, yeah, but looking for junior, looking for senior, and some of them just say no. So during that year, my second semester as a freshman, and how many internship offer I got, you guys will guess it. Big fat zero, nothing, okay? And at this point, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Okay, did I actually separate from the military for this kind of crap? I mean, it's not too hopeful so far. It's not even fun. It's not even positive. So what can I do? Well, I already separated. If I go back in, it's not going to be a good chance. I mean, not going to be a good choice. So I should continue forward, give myself some more time. Or maybe I am just expecting too much too soon. Okay, maybe I am. But I just feel that it's wrong. Someone wait 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, and not learning anything while wait until latter year to get some internship. Why can't I learn right now? So I continue with that mindset to keep on asking around, reaching out. You could say being comfortable in many uncomfortable situations by constantly networking. I don't know how to network. I just show up there and shake people's hand. Okay. And then one day, a company that sells flower online, okay, decided to take the chance on me and gave me a IT QA intern. Okay, quality assurance. No technical skill. I don't know anything at that time. I just they were exposing me on how software being developed, bug being fixed, and then performance tests, whatever that cycle is, they call SDLC, I believe. But yeah, again, to me, it was just eye-opening. It was great. Okay, it was fun, and it was exciting. This is where I learned my next stage. Next lesson is that if you really want it, you gotta go find it. We can't just wait for it. We can't just wait. Wait until I'm a junior so I get some exposure in computer coding. We should be more proactive than that. Okay, just remember that word, proactive. And so by this point, feeling very hopeful, I'm going to fast forward 2 or 3 semesters. And by this time, I have some computer classes, computer coding, got exposed into Linux, cryptography, and networking, all theory again, all in school only. And I started to think that where can I get some cybersecurity skill? Where? And I thought, hey, I need some technical skills. So the best place, I think is, just keep on applying to different many companies. And one company reached back, and that place is the white collar crime capital of the world. And I call it Wall Street. Yes, I was intern in Wall Street, mainly doing network security. I can actually see the building that I interned in this picture. So really excited. Again, my hope is to get some hands-on experience in cybersecurity as an intern, again, with now much technical background. Okay, so by this point, I was very excited, very happy. Until 2 weeks into my internship, what happened? Well, it's funny things happen. This happened. I got berated, like embarrassed by the senior network engineer in front of the SOC, the Security Operations Center. Okay, what happened was he been showing me the ropes on how to do certain things, but I guess I never took him seriously. And one day he asked me to, hey, let's boot your Windows machine into a Linux machine. So boot your operating system off a USB. How do you do that? And just that question, he just went off on me. Okay. So what happened there? A couple of things. Well, one big thing I learned from that is he woke me up. He showed me what I did wrong. Okay. When we're going through a motion, like going through a process, when you are, I guess, in school, you do your homework, you pass your tests, you go to your classes, and maybe you do your project. And then for me right now, okay, I'm doing all those things for school, and then hey, now I got an internship. Pretty easy peasy, not too hard. But what I lack doing, what I didn't do, is that I wasn't being proactive. I was not applying the things that I learned in class and apply somewhere outside. Do a little small project. Be curious on the thing you use every day, the laptop. What else can you do with the laptop? I wasn't doing that. And what he did right there, don't get me wrong, it was toxic environment. It was very, very blunt. It was I hated working there. I hated interning there. But I have to stay there until I get something out of it. After all, he did woke me up. So that was where I learned that if you really want to make the most out of it, we should not do the bare minimum, which I did before he threw me out. Okay. And that was one of the biggest awakening I have in my life. So then I stood there for 4 months. Again, it was the longest 4 months in my life. I didn't want to quit just because he yelled at me, but I just really want to make an example for myself and learn from that. So the day I left that internship, I went home and designed this project. Now, don't worry about this project. That basically what it does is that every time I utilize a veteran lounge in school, okay, I have to sign in, okay? And every week, this work study in that lounge have to count how many sign in and populate that information into a spreadsheet and send it to the school so the school would know how to allocate resources for the veteran, either funding or space, one of those two, okay? And I thought, hey, I know how to code in Python. Let me design something to automate this, okay? And I bought that little black thing right there, HID card reader. The goal is not to repeat my same mistake, okay? I should be more proactive. I should utilize some skill that you learn to do something out of it. So you can say promote yourself a little bit more or advertise yourself, advertise your skill set. So exactly what I did. Now, after I left the network security internship, which is with the stock firm, I went on to do a couple more internship. And I went on to the media company to learn about web application security, and then got into another internship after that, which with the federal government and doing investigation. So that is where I learned about the field of cybersecurity is, wow, I mean, there are so many paths in cybersecurity that there's no one big path. There's no one straight path into cybersecurity. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that you should learn the fundamental, for example, Linux, Windows operating system, working knowledge of TCP, IP, or networking, cryptography, and know how to code. Once you have those fundamental, there are a wide spectrum of cybersecurity, red team, blue team, web apps, web application, network security, malware, all this track that you could focus into. But of course, there's no one book that you could read from A to Z and boom, you're a cybersecurity engineer. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. So that, again, gives me the mindset of, okay, I'm being interning, jumping around, jack of all trade, master none. Where am I going to focus? And of course, I am 3 months out from graduation. Okay, very close. And so, yeah, I think I'm doing pretty well so far because I got all this internship under my belt. I got some project to show for it, and should be pretty easy. In the same year, I did one of my capstone project and I wrote about it to Black Hat, and Black Hat decided to, invite me to a Black Hat conference for free. It was exciting. I feel like I'm the hot shit. Okay, I feel like I got this, man. Going for the full-time job should be a piece of cake. Shouldn't be that bad. Okay. And what I expect is, all this in-person interview will popping left and right, telling me to go interview with them, and then maybe they will hire me. Well, that was just a thought. Okay, I guess. That's not what happened. That is nowhere close to what happened. I got many emails about thank you for your application, but no email coming in to request me, or I'd never moved past to this stage of phone interview. And I think at this point, I think 2 months out from graduation, super scary. And this is where I learned, wow, I guess the field of cybersecurity is extremely challenging to get into. Even with all this skill set that I thought I possess, all this award I thought I possess, I'm not getting crack at it. I guess the company doesn't see it. I don't know, whatever that reason is, I wasn't able to get in, even though I have all this internship. So fast forward a month, I am doing nothing but this, applying for jobs left and right, like anything that speaks security, anything that says software, anything that say networking, even IT support, left and right, just applying, casting a wide net. And it feels that every single job that I'm looking at, every single position that I'm about to apply, it feels so close. It's just, I could just, like the trash can is right there. I could toss the trash into a trash can, but I'm keep missing. I'm getting overlooked every single time. So I'm not sure what happened. All I know is I'm not getting much opportunity, and I'm getting lots and lots and lots of rejection. It was not even funny. It's not even, you could say, healthy in a way. It's not even healthy mentally, emotionally. It was not healthy. It was a dark period in my life. Like I thought I cracked at the code and getting into cybersecurity, but I guess I didn't, because I couldn't show for it. Yeah, getting a degree is an accomplishment, but without a full-time job, without ways to support myself, what the heck am I going to do? Where am I going to start? And so, yeah, didn't feel good. It wasn't feeling good. The government that I interned for, they end up offering me a position. Like they will convert me into a full-time after I graduate. However, I didn't want to go into government as my first job. No disrespect for the government, there, but I just felt that, let's be honest here, technology always lags behind in government than outside private sector. Okay, given my role as an investigator for cybercrime, things like that, I don't know enough about the industry to investigate the industry. That was my voice inside of me. If I take that job, it would be an easy way out for me. I just want to support myself. Okay, so that was my decision to make. Should I go back, or should I take the remainder 8 months of my GI Bill and go to grad school? And here is where I learned one of the lessons, that is, you should always follow your intuition. That something about your intuition speaks to you, tells you more than your conscious mind. I'm not sure why. It just, following that is why one of the best decisions that I made. And I did just that. I turned down the offer. I went to grad school using my student status. Okay, I'm not sure, which is one thing kind of pissed me off a lot. I'm not sure why you had to be in school to be an intern, but why can you be an intern while not in school? If someone want a career change, why can't they do that? But anyway, using my student status, I'm an intern. Okay, I applied for more location as an intern, and the location that I applied to, I went back into what is that called, a financial firm, and a small financial firm, but they are setting up their cybersecurity program, and I am the second member in that team. So I was able to set up their WAF firewall, static code analysis, all this left and right, kind of setting up the program and getting my hands dirty. Super great experience. Getting my hands on, like literally seeing from beginning to the end on how everything comes together. And of course, for my grad school, the people that my classmate, they are all either industry professional or they are executive. So I was able to network with them. The things I'm talking about are the things I'm working at in my internship. The things I'm working at are the things I'm learning at school. So it was kind of perfect triangle, the best time that I ever had. And I guess somewhere, I'm sure you guys would notice, people in the cybersecurity field, that the community are pretty small. So if you heard about this person, your colleague might heard about it, or might know this person as well. So I'm not sure how word got passed, how my name got passed around in the class, whatnot. I learned that the harder you work, the luckier you get. Okay, this quote from Michael Jordan. Okay, now what happened was, remember I keep missing that trash to the basket? Now is where I realized that I think I finally made it. This Like I finally made my bucket. I finally scored that bucket. Finally. And in my last semester of grad school, okay, and I applied for one more internship. And that opportunity, this bucket was assist. Okay, I made this bucket, but this bucket was assist by this fine gentleman called Brian Lazada, Marine, okay, and also a CISO for a company that I applied to at the time, a healthcare startup. And he saw my application in the queue and contacted me before the HR even did. Okay, talk to me about, hey Gary, let's talk about you. Let's see what you want. Okay, and he took me in as an intern during my last semester of my grad school. And then once my internship was over, he converted me to full time. And this is where I learned my last point, which is, wow, I mean, I didn't even go through any kind of technical interview. It basically appeared off, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's based on the people that you know to get you the connection, get you your foot in the door. But many of us, many veterans, like, we don't know how to network well sometimes. We actually not too well in people skill. So sometimes we are very qualified in terms of knowledge, but we couldn't get to it because I guess we have some barrier interacting with other people. But in this case, what Brian did just gave me that chance to break through. And I felt like that feels good. That feels awesome. Finally at the place that where I think I want to be. I think I forgot one of the keynote speakers that she said that, someone said it, that success is doing what you like. Okay. And I feel like I'm pretty successful when I got to that point. And so Brian and I went on a different track. So with that, I'm going to talk about my final notes real quick. Here are my final notes. Earlier in the talk, I mentioned that my talk is tailored to the people, and then me being a younger person, not having any kind of technical skill, we can learn that. But for folks who are older, okay, you can do this too. You can, okay? My friend right here, George Gonzalez, 24 years in the US Air Force, retired. He works as a logistic operation the whole time, okay? 24 years. And what he did the same thing. I met him in one of my internship, okay? He was interning the same place that I am. And he got his degree in computer science. And we went to the same grad school for cybersecurity. We tag along to a lot of, you could say, events, went to many veterans events, and went to many of the cybersecurity meetups. And we talked to recruiter right there that, hey, giving us two having the same skill set, what would you do? Who would you hire? And I hate to say this, but the blunt question is, the truth answer is that, company will lean toward the younger one. Just how it is. They could squeeze them out more. So it's disheartening. But then I took this question and asked Brian, my mentor, and asked him, how can someone who is older and looking to break into this field, what should they do? And Brian said that your friend, George, should consider apply to the company. They are more established. Okay, they have more, I guess, resource or know-how on using your friend experience better than any kind of up-and-coming company. So George did just that. Well, first thing, he leveraged his connection in LinkedIn, okay? And then he applied to one of the big four consulting firm. And now he's working as a technical consultant for one of that big four consulting firm company. But again, you can do this too, even though you are older individual. Another note I want to put out is, we as veterans tend to believe that with the media praising us, how good we are, but then when we step out in the civilian world, we're like, whoa, what happened to all this media attention? Now it doesn't work much. When things doesn't go well for you, okay, we need to remove ourselves from the victim mentality. We cannot just say, just because we're veteran, we're not getting an opportunity. No, we have extreme ownership to all of our decision, okay, and all of our action. And we need to accept every single consequences that we make, okay? Throughout the time, it was very hard struggle for me to get into full time, even just for internship sometime. But sometimes we just have to learn and move on and adapt and move on. Just how it is. The world doesn't owe us anything. It's us that we need to pave our path. And getting into cybersecurity is extremely difficult. It's hard. I mean, at least for me, it's very hard. If it's easy, everybody who have done it. So if you fail the first time, 2, 3, 4 times, keep trying. Just don't give up. You got to get there. And like I mentioned, I am coming into this talk tailored to the people that who does not have any kind of technical experience, okay? But if you have some technical experience or some prior cybersecurity skill set, consider attending Jacqueline Scott, her talk tomorrow at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. She will cover that roadmap more than I can. Again, I was never there in terms of that transition, but please do give her the attention. And like I also have the chance after graduating, after getting hired into the last company, I had a chance to teach a bootcamp class. Now I have some not so positive opinion about bootcamp for cybersecurity, but if you are thinking about bootcamp, school, or certification, please do consider go to Brett Rose talk. He will highlight the 3 track, which would make sense for you. But again, I'm happy to talk about why which the pros and cons of each, okay, and leave that for Q&A if you want. But with that, I want to close my presentation with the last 2 slides. And this is the quote I got from one of the French artists, Edith Piaf. And she said that when you reach the top, you should remember to send the elevator back down to others. And every time I see that quote, always a pen, a word in there. Okay, I always say, when you reach the top, you should remember to send the elevator back down for other veterans. I'm not at the top. I'm nowhere near the top. Far from it. But I know for anyone coming in to struggle, I understand, and I would definitely help you with that. But for anyone who is listening right now, or at the top, or close to the top, or have the ability to help, please do it, because it's hard. It is. I wish I have some guidance, and Brian gave me that chance to break it out, but we just need to pass it down to other people. And finally, I am a co-founder and co-host for a podcast called Veteran Voice NYC. If you have an iPhone or if you have a newer Android phone, you can screenshot this page or screenshot my QR code or contact me in LinkedIn. These are information. My buddy, a Marine, Jose, is doing a great job organizing all this thing together. And our focus for our podcast is mainly on transitioning. And how would one transition? Like, if they think about transitioning, what should they consider? If they think about going straight to work, what kind of struggle have they faced? What about going to school? And what about some identity crisis situation after we separate? So we cover those things. I still have one episode that I need to edit. But you can find our podcast from Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Again, it's free. We don't take any money from this thing. And yeah, happy to answer any kind of question that you may have. And finally, of course, want to give a VetSec a big thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about myself and not wearing any pants while doing it. So I am ready for more questions. I'm going to stop my screen share and be right here. Anything? Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Gary, thank you for your well-rehearsed talk. You might not think that you're at the top of the elevator to the Empire State Building right now, but John's dad said success is doing more of what you like and less of what you don't like.
Exactly.
And kudos to you for making that transition, even overcoming your fear of math and going on a very challenging transition journey. Oh, we did get a question. What do you think of the pros and cons for boot camp versus college?
Yeah. So let me tell you about boot camp first. I took this very question to one of the Wild West hacking last year, and asked the speaker about what do you think about boot camp in cybersecurity? In cybersecurity, and I'm talking about coding. She said that a nurse you don't graduate a nurse in 6 months, assuming the boot camp is 6 months. Same thing with cybersecurity, okay? I'm not saying college is going to make that easier. What I'm saying is that with the current industry, it's very weird that you have to be a student to get internship. And internship is where you get your real life skill, which makes it you had to go to college to get the internship. So bootcamp offer you the quick up to the latest content on what the industry is needing, but you only have 4 to 6 months. If you're doing full-time, you have 4 months. If you're doing part-time, you have 6 months. But my question is, how much can one absorb in those time? And how do they advertise their skill once they graduate? My student right now, still, none of them so far are in the cybersecurity career track. They're still doing IT. And that was 2019, August, when they graduate. So that bugs me the most on why are we offer cybersecurity bootcamp to begin with? So in terms of college, again, it's pros and cons. It costs a lot more, much longer time, but I guess one can squeeze out more from college, in my opinion, than bootcamp. Yeah, it could be marketing dollars. I hate to say it, especially the federal government. I think in their law that you have to be in school to intern for federal government, which I mean, now again, I benefit for that because I was in school. But for the individual who do not have the fortune to go to school, or for the veteran that exhausts their GI Bill, now what can they do? That's another issue that I've seen a lot. And you could, some stupid lazy question lazy answer that I heard. Oh, YouTube has everything. BS. Come on, nobody learned by watching video. Come on, everybody learns differently. So that's my very, very blunt truth right there. And yeah, apprenticeship is hands-on. Definitely is one of the things that you gotta sell. Mm-hmm. I think I am super early. I'm not sure how much time do I have, but yeah.
I mean, you can have another 13 minutes if you want.
Oh, snap. Okay. As a born bootcamp instructor, yeah, hit or miss with the instructor. Yeah, I see some instructors are very lazy and they're just doing for the money, which kind of breaks my heart. And just, they paying 12, 13, 14K for this 6 months, like literally almost their life saving to switch a career. And yet this is the education they get. And then there's no guarantee. And of course, many bootcamp, they don't advertise the success rate. They might advertise a select group that, 98% placement rate, but that's not really the case that I've seen in cybersecurity. Again, cybersecurity is very different than network bootcamp or coding bootcamp. They are all structured. Cybersecurity is like freaking left and right. Like I said earlier, it's not linear. Okay, you don't go from bootcamp day 1 to bootcamp day 180 and then boom, you cybersecurity engineer. You have to be exposed to every single track all the time. Yeah, it does. It had to do with professor as well. I said it again. This talk is going to end early. Not that because I don't like to talk about myself, because I don't have anything else to talk about myself. But happy to answer any kind of question that you guys may have. Any question or like anything. Hey,
that is perfectly fine. Another question: where in cybersecurity do you currently work?
Oh, what field or which company? What field? Okay. Yeah, I'm on the application security side. So the reason I'm on that side is not because it's the latest and greatest, it's because I'm seeing the trend in the private sector that they're leading toward. You guys heard about cloud computing, AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure, right? Those are 3 big ones. And more and more companies are not maintaining their data center anymore. They're pushing those to those providers. And with that, you learn about containers. Maybe you heard about it, Docker, Kubernetes to orchestrate those things. So all the responsibility that we the security professional leading toward right now are at the layer 7 of the OSI model, the application layer. So where attacker comes in, usually I'm saying right now for the industry that we are sending right now in AWS are at the layer 7. So attack are coming in from inside, from the top layer. So that is where I lean myself toward. Still learning, lots to learn in that field. Very vast, very, very vast. Okay, but for a company like the government, they do have a more traditional layer 3, layer 4 security, like network security engineer, etc. Or do I consider doing DoD contracting versus purely commercial? I have thought about DoD contracting, yes, and they are much more appreciative of your skill. Nothing against government, but government, when I was interning with them in my grad school, they tried to turn me into a project manager. And I was like, it's good if I'm older, but while I'm younger and while still starting my early career, I want to get my hands dirty. So I want to see the nitty gritty and stuff. And then when I get sick of technology, yeah, I'll be a project manager. But for contracting, they're more on hands-on, very technical. And the federal government, you could say the agent, whatever they call it, they usually the one that managing the project. Okay. And were you accepting the invitations? Of course, I accept them. Yes. And yep, thank you so much, Mr. Rhodes. Appreciate your feedback.